Chapter 18. Yeah, I said it. Over the years, Mr. Shadow's friendship was reminding me of my fire buddy. It was nice to live out a vision I had with my old fire buddy, that no matter what, we would always be friends first, and it seemed like I was getting that friendship with one of my fountain boys. Back then, he always was a safe place to hide with. Now my mental health storm is at the worst it's ever been, and I really needed a place to hide and sort out my thoughts. Can I ever just be friends with someone I used to have feelings for? My mother would say, Stacy Day, what are you doing? You know what they want, shut it down, and go home. My unresolved issues with losing my fire buddy with things left unsaid, things that we need to air out as adults. We never got the chance. When he died, we were still young, not ready to talk about things. It would have ruined my relationship. Now, as Mr. Shadows and I got closer as friends, it was getting harder to just be only a friend. When the conversation would shift, my subconscious hit the brakes. This past trauma is tapping a kick drum in my head, in my heart. A string that feels like it's linked to the heavens. It's tugging my heart to resolve this. There cannot be another boy from my past die with words left unsaid. And even if these words come out of my mouth from the deep contours of my heart, the words will be the match to set ablaze the rest of my life, with the strike of the match only on my tongue, setting the stage to blow up the rest of my life while I'm at it. Over the years, I did not talk about my fire buddy. It's something that a married woman does not talk about. Talk about our plans made with the man before we met the person who shares a bed with, plans that will never happen. They cannot because he is gone. The man in my bed has never lost anything that he has loved on that level. The only thing that man has ever loved is me. His perception will never understand the pain that I'm feeling, and all I can do is wait until he falls asleep, then try not to let him hear my howl, my cries to the moon, hoping that I can sort this pain out before the alarm goes off. And as the years accumulate to help deal with grief and loss, I sit and think about others, how much I have, and how it can all be gone tomorrow. And thinking, and trying to shake the frost from my ragged and weary heart, I am left here in the moment, thinking about anyone who has lost anything. In certain sunsets, the way the birds sing, the trees rustling, the winds whistling, or the rooster crowing, I will stop and hold back tears. The spot in my life where my 2 feet are placed, staring at the horses from my wraparound porch, the creek flowing behind the house, a rental property that I am sure my old fire buddy found for me. And over the years, the house started to turn into the Amityville Horrors house. Only happy if I was outside, unable to find joy within those walls any longer. Subconsciously, I was crying out for help. Help is the last thing I like to ask for. When I bumped into Mr. Shadows in 2016, I was needing a friend. Friendship is what he gave. He was not afraid to hurt my feelings. Mr. Shadow is someone who knows the real Stacy Day, so when he sees me shape-shifting into someone that someone else wants me to be, he will place his hands on my shoulders and shake it out of me, dig into the embers of my soul, and give me a swift kick in my ass to move me forward. He watched the light in my eyes dim. Over the years, my depression was gripping me, and as a result, from straying so far away from myself, he gave me sound counsel from one trailer park kid to another, giving me reminders that nothing is promised, and reminding me of where I came from, reminding me of how far I have come. This is something that I could not get from my husband. I met my husband from the start of my parents' recovery from substance abuse. He was there from the fresh start of my life. Mr. Shadows was there for the war. However, there is only one soldier that has been there from the front lines with me day in and out, protecting and comforting me through the trials of being a teenager without parents. When I went to Spokane, Washington in mid-November 2020, I put 2021, it's 2020. This trip was to visit my mom This trip was to visit my mom during her radiation procedure for cervical cancer. Finally, after years of waiting, my mom and me were alone in private girl talk. My family and I just drove and dreamt, and it was a dream come true. With the trip came with reminders of my old friend, and when I am out west, there is nothing that stops his memory. The last I heard, he had moved out west to be with his sister after his brother's overdose. Here comes the parade of joyful memories. The mountain terrain is making a mess in my mind. Shove those memories away. That is a different life. Wouldn't it be funny if I just bumped into him? I thought to myself, never mentioning his name. My mom would not allow me to speak ill of her favorite son in law. The years were starting to show that my mama loves him more than I do, especially since my mind is flooded with memories of my old friend, wondering what he is doing, who he is doing, does he live in Portland? How far is Portland from Spokane? I pondered to myself while driving for hours past the mountains, looking up at the trees tower overhead, thinking about if my old friend is up there somewhere, dreaming of a world where we worked out. Then, when the universe turned me in the direction of my old friend 2 weeks after the trip, God knew what I did not. He was hurting, hurting in a way that never repaired from loss of a loved one, a person who my old friend shares laugh, face, and physical frame, his big brother. When he stands in the mirror, he sees his brother, and I imagine that over time this breaks his heart over and over. And I should know we suffer from the same heartbreak. My sister shares my face, my eyes, my laugh, and my physical frame. She is gone. Her physical body is on the planet, but drugs took her a long time ago, making him making my mirror a source of pain. When I look in the mirror, I see her. However, I cannot save her. She must save herself. Now, disclaimer, my sister has been completely sober for 2 years and she's about to live with me. She's paid my rent for 3 months and she's like doing really great. So, the entire town of Hillsboro, slow clap every time you see her. And as I tell stories of her, they're lessons now. And I want everyone to just really know that. And a lot of what people think are drugs are really a mental health symptoms. So, she's doing great work and be so proud of her. In 2000, and in my delusions, I say mean things about her, but she does the same thing to me. So then we go to a psych ward, we take medications, and we start over again, and we laugh it off, and we everyone knows our cycle. And if we have hurt you in any way, I'm telling you, we hate ourselves for it, and we love you all. In 2016, my old friend's big brother was a casualty of war, the same war that took my sister's life, the war on drugs. My heart broke and I started hyperventilating, shaking, sweating, crying, screaming, and just sleeping. My memories of my old friend came rushing in like a tidal wave, flooding my mind and my heart, longing to be able to wail cry in his chest, knowing that all he wanted was to see my familiar face. His memory file exploded all over my mind, like paper flying, trying to grab one and take a long look at. And as all the packs of cigarettes and talks to the sunrise, standing by the fire, digging into each other's mind, just sitting and laughing. Memories of him holding me through my deep belly cries, cries caused from a pain from the war from substance abuse, long, along with the feeling along with all the feelings being a teenage girl brings, falling in love with a boy that I cannot have. He heard every story, both good and bad. He talked and talked and talked and talked, and anything that was going on in my life from middle school to November 2006, my old friend knew all about it. In 2016, all of those memories piled into the hall of my mind, memories of him distracting me from pain as a teenager. When I heard, all I wanted in the entire world was to run across the river to give him a hug, tell him it would be okay, tell him whatever he needed to mend his shattered heart. This could not happen. My marriage would fall apart with a hug at a funeral. All it would take was one look from him as a grown man to make me tremble. And I knew this. I have always known this. My subconscious knows this. My physical body knows this. My heart knows this. However, my mind is stubborn and settled in its ways. I have often imagined what it would be like to see him again. When his brother died, that was all I thought about. What he was like now, who he was as a man. His memory was starting to unravel me. Slowly, day by day, my positive habits and sunny disposition started to fall away, revealing a truth about myself. Sweetie, you might have a thing for him. That is why you are so upset. This is what I this is This is what I would imagine my mom would say. In 2016, I did not tell her the story of how upset I was. She would have made me be honest with myself that something I was not ready to do. That year, my dad almost died from spinal surgery. They moved to North Dakota with my sister that year. My sister repaired the remaining damage from the war. My mom could not heal this hurt I have. She was facing her own pain of almost losing the love of her life. When I lay in bed and ponder on my problems, her problems, his problems, the world's problems, going into my catalog of my mom's words to give me strength to get out of this bed of despair, there is a list of commonly used phrases my mom would say. She had 4 daughters, and we would all come up with similar issues. Every phrase is like a line from Gilmore Girls, except this is real life. These are not imaginary boys or problems. All these are real and can be felt. In 2016, all I could think about was that hug. That hug, the hug that an old friend needed that I could not give. I knew that he would slow breathe in my ear, pulling me back for nothing but his mind. Pulling me back with nothing but his mind, and when I tried to release myself, his hold would be tattooed on my heart, unable to hide the gravitational pull he has on me. He knew what I knew. Just the sin of me would make his eyes roll back. We both knew that to heal, we needed each other. It's not that simple. This is a sad story, but I have read it before. It's not sad, it's a happy story. My old friend would my old friend could really use my friendship. However, I was not allowed to talk to him. My husband seen early on in the relationship that my fire buddy and my old friend held a place in my heart forever. And when I talked about them, my face lights up, joy flashing behind my eyes as I see the memories on the big screen in my mind. My eyes pulling my smile, my real warm, bright, shiny smile. The smile that comes after a giggle, a smile that my husband does not see naturally anymore. And when I went up the gravel lane to Mr. Shadow's house, everything that I had been hiding was there for everyone to see. Stacy Day is not perfect, and she cannot hide from this storm. Knowing that he would be the only friend in my real life that would not judge, and I knew no matter what, he would never tell a soul that I was not perfect. He always knew that I just pretend to be a lot of different things for a lot of different people. Mr. Shadows knew that it was all because I was sad, scared, and really did not want to fail. End up in that trailer park when he's seen a sad girl sitting in his driveway crying with her husband. He just wanted to show me a good time, trying to spark the joy within my relationship. I got out of my car, wrapped in a blanket, and I let ideas linger in. What if? The next one is Chapter 18, Edge of 17. But I think it's Chapter 19. Yep, it's Chapter 19.